So here, al-kalimatul jadida, so the new words that we have seen, you have yatasallamu, right? This is a present tense verb of tasallama. We've spoken about this verb extensively in the last class. It means to receive. Zamil, and remember, when you memorize words, don't memorize anything other than the default state. You don't have to memorize as zamilan. Okay, you memorize as zamilun, which is a classmate. Yadulluhu, I'm not sure if we got this word. It is dalla. So I have a feeling that we might get this word. Dalla yadullu. It means to indicate something, and it has other meanings. To point at something. Like dalla alayhi something. Qisim, we know this one, sections or parts and things like that. Mudhakkarat, mudhakkira. You have to be careful here. Uh, I reminded myself. So if you say mudhakkar, what is this one? You guys should know. If I say mudhakkar, masculine, excellent. So mudhakkar is masculine. So that's why you have to be careful. First of all, you have a kasra here. Mudhakkira. That's the word. Mudhakkira. Which is a what? Reminder. And of course, this is a sound plural. So standard meaning would be a reminder, but here in context, I explained to you that this word is being used in the university as class notes, kind of like textbook for the class. So each class will have one mudhakkira. Make sense? Al-hadith, it has a lot of different meanings, but I think in the context, hadith mean the hadith of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The aqidah is the creed. We went through this. Nabawi is the prophetic, and qawaid is the plural of qaida. Qaida. Okay, qaida. What is qaida? It's a rule or something like that. But in the context, I think it came as, I think, the nahu, grammar. Then you have hiwar. Hiwar is what? Dialogue. We have this one. Muadhaf is a employee. Min fadlik. This is an expression. You guys know that already. It means please. Okay, so I mean, if we go a little bit more, I'll just give you the fadl, because this word comes in the Quran and other places. Fadlullah. Fadl is meaning like courtesy. You have a courtesy of doing something. So it comes as the meaning of courtesy. So if you translate literally, it would be from your courtesy. Okay, from your courtesy. But we use in places where we'll say, excuse me, please, things like that. Muhadatha is muhada. See, what's wrong with this haraka? Can we ever have a kasra here? Yes, it has to be fatha. Why? Because I mentioned to you that if you have ta marbuta, keep this rule in your mind. It's a very useful rule, actually. If you have ta marbuta, the haraka before it must be a fatha. There's no exception. This is a golden rule. So, and when you see this kind of mistake in the book, don't blame the authors. We have a 6 PhD doctors who has written this book. It's not their fault. It's the publications. These kind of mistakes, there's no way someone who knows Arabic will make. These comes from the editing or publishing. So remember this rule: when you have a ta marbuta, it always needs to be fatha before. So muhadatha is a conversation. Okay. Hunak is there, and the huna is here. This is here, and hunak is there. One that it has longer is far, and the one without, shorter is here. Akhar is another one. Sharit, I think we got it in the context of, audio tape, I think. So sharit is a tape, ribbons, things like that. Okay. Mukhtabar, it's a laboratory, lab, like science lab, things like that. Muqarrara, I explained this word in details in the last class as well, because it has a different meanings, but the context we have gotten is for it is being used as a course. Okay, muqarrara is being used as a course. Rais is a head or the president. Tasallama, this is the past tense verb of yatasallamu, which is to receive. I don't know, this book always put Dhamma here. I've never found this word with Dhamma. It's always Mawad. I don't know why he's putting here. First of all, again, if you're learning the word, you don't need the alif lam, right? You say what? Mawadun. Okay, it's just putting this because he's just simply taking the word what we've gotten in the text. But the word is mawad. This is a plural of madda. I talked about this one. It has a little bit different meanings. The way we are getting is a subject. So madda can be a subject, and it can also be a substance. Usually when you talk about chemistry, the things like that, and we'll use this word as well to say about substance of something. Fiqh, sira, nusus is a plural of nas. Okay, what is nas? Nas is like a text, words, collection of words, and this word can be technical when you go into the fiqh or other Islamic science. Then the nas would, and that time the nas or nusus, it will mean anything that comes from the Sharia. So the Quran and the Sunnah. Okay, in the Islamic text, if you say nusus, that is found in the nusus, that means we're referring that it is found either in the Quran or in the Sunnah. Zaman is time, Mustawda is what? We talked about this is storage, right? Mustawda is storage. Again, as you can see, it has a kasra here. It's just taking the words from the text. You know how to memorize. So you don't need azam, you just memorize zaman. Shu'un. What is shu'un? It's the plural of what? Sha'an. What is sha'an? Sha'an is a matter. Matter, not a matter as a substance. Matter is issue. Affair. Affair would be better word actually, especially for this context. Affair. So I think we got it in the context of shu'un tullab, the student affairs. Uh, then we have tafaddal. Tafaddal is another expression we use. This this word has a infinite meaning based on where you point. We've been through this one already, and as you can see, this is coming from this word fadl. So fadl, faddala, tafaddala, just like qadima, qaddama, taqaddama. So it's morphing into something. Here the meaning is very close to a courtesy, very close to courtesy, but it's an expression, so use it like that. Tafaddal, you want someone to sit, you point at the chair and you say tafaddal. Somebody's at your door, you want them to come, and you show the door and say tafaddal to come inside. هكذا. Al-aswat is the plural of sawt. Sawt. What is sawt? Sawt is sound. No. And aswat, you don't need alif lam. Aswat is the plural. Shay, shay is a thing, and the plural is ashya. One thing to remember with ashya, one thing to remember with the ashya is that this word is actually mamnu minas sarf. What does it mean? Mamnu minas sarf. It cannot take tanween. Okay, we talked about. So a lot of people don't know this. Ashya is words. It cannot say ashyaun. No, you cannot say that. Yes, it will be ashya'u, and it won't be able to take kasra. If you say fi in things, you cannot say fi ashya'i, you have to fi ashya'a. Anyway, keep that in mind. This is a common mistake that people do. Jellies, it comes, anyway, this word, it means a companion. But, the word that you want to be more familiar with, jalasa, which means to sit. What is the sitting? If you're sitting with someone, is a companionship. Ta'abir. Ta'abir is expression. Expression. Talaba is to request. Talaba yatlubu. Yatlubu. Okay. Talaba yatlubu. And these things we always skip. So now we're starting with at-tadribat exercises. We have at-tadrib al-awwal, the first exercise. Yeah, I mean, this is something we have talked a lot. So I will go a little bit faster here. It says أريد أن أتسلم أريد أن أتسلم الكتب. And because he's showing this one, ذهب أحمد ليقابل. So I think the focus here is this issue with the fatha, the mansub state of the present tense verb. We explained a lot, right? Because the verb in the present tense verb usually takes dhamma at the end. Atasallamu, atasallamu, sorry, atasallamu. That means I receive. But when you have certain huruf, like one of them is an, another one is li, and then there's other ones like hatta, we'll learn them later, or kai, likai. When these things come, what happens is that present tense verb gets a fatha. We've mentioned this one many, many times. So make sure this book is trying to really press that idea in your mind so that you don't make these mistakes. From the way the book is teaching you, book will consider it's very silly to make this kind of mistake at this stage, which is when you have an, you say atasallamu. You cannot say that. So we also talked about the urid, arada yuridu, to want. So uridu means I want, uridu an, just like in English, an is to. You say I want to, you want to use any verb, you need to. Okay, I want to eat. I want to go. Same thing. This an here is coming as to. So I want to receive. And when an comes, you don't say atasallamu anymore. You say atasallama. And why is al-kutub, which is books, why this one is a fatha mansub? Huh? Maful bihi, excellent. So this has nothing to do with an. This has to do with what? This verb. I want to receive what? What do you want to receive? I want to receive the book. This is the object of this. So it's a little bit tricky, but this stage, you kind of have to get your head around these things. Okay. Another thing I just wanted to quickly mention with the an, probably I shouldn't. Just waste. Anyway, which is every time you have uh, okay, let me explain with this one because this one I don't want to mess up more. So you have same thing. Uridu an altahiqa. What is this? Iltahaqa yaltahiqu. We had this verb before, is to join. Okay, join. And I told you that this iltahaqa verb always comes with a be. When you say I want to join something, so I want to join, be. Uridu an altahiqa bil mahad institution. Okay, bil mahad. I want to join the institution. This is a little bit advanced. I shouldn't want to just quickly mention if I don't know. This expression, when you have a to and a verb, believe it or not, even in English, this is a noun. When you have a to and verb, anybody knows what in English we call it? To eat. There's a technical term from this. Infinitive. Excellent. You are very good with grammar, Sister Farhana, mashallah. So it's actually a noun. So what you could do, even in English, you could replace this with a noun. How? I want to eat the apple. So the to eat, you can replace with the noun. I want eating. We don't say it in English quite often like that, but you can do this. You can say, I want eating the apple. Something like that. But in Arabic, it's very common. You can change the whole thing with the masdar, the verbal noun, which is iltihaq. And just a side note, keep this one a side note if you guys are interested. So then we have Urid and Adhaba. It's very simple things, guys. I don't want to spend time at all. Here we have one verb, arju. What is the verb? Verb is raja. What is raja? To hope, wish. To hope or to wish. Raja yarju. Yarju. Okay, raja yarju, to hope. And of course, he's saying arju. That means I hope. So see, again, I hope every time you have, right now we don't have urid, but we have an ahfada. We have an, I hope to ahfada. Then you have a present tense verb. Ahfada means I memorize. So I hope to memorize. This would be proper way of translating. Now, if you translate word by word, it would be I hope that I memorize. What Al Quran? And the Quran is getting because of it is the object maful bihi of uh, I memorize. Now, same thing what I was saying, that you can replace this thing with the noun. I hope memorizing the Quran. You can say in English, I hope to memorize, or you can say I hope memorizing the Quran. The verbal noun is hifz. Ahfad is hifz. Hifz. So you can say hifz the Quran. You can replace the whole thing and translate Uri arju hifz al Quran. I hope memorizing the Quran, right? So by and large, you can interchange, but depends on what style and how you want to say it. Your choice will be based on that. It says arju an aktuba talaban li. So what is the translation here? I hope to write. So I uridu an taktuba. I want you to write, right? Right. What talab? Talab is a request. And then we have li, a request for me. So I have a question. Why couldn't he say talabi? Talabi means my request. Yes, no specific, because if it's a talabi, then it's a very specific. We know which request you want him to write. So when you say uridu an taktuba talabi, if you say that, that means I want you to write my request. So the person knows which request you're talking about, right? But let's say you haven't said anything which request, but you just want him to write one of the requests. So here, translation would be, I want you to write one of my requests. So then later he comes and then you show him what letter do you want him to write. You understand? So this is how we make it very general. You say waladun li, one of my son. If you say waladi, that means my son. Very specific. Everybody knows which son we're talking about. But you have, let's say, 3, 4 sons or something like that. Then you say one of my son. How do you say waladun li? You separate walad as an indefinite, and then you say li. So this is a very interesting things you should know, because the book mentioned a few times, so I'm spending a little bit more time. Clear? Now, so the next column, we have something similar. Instead of an, we have li. Believe it or not, a little bit advanced grammar note here. One of the rule of You'll see one of the rule of harful jar, li is the harful jar, right? Is the preposition. One of the rule of the preposition is that it only comes in the noun. Okay, so one way we know if the word is noun or not, if it is preceded by harful jar. So li Muhammad, li plus Muhammad, right? Muhammadin. So you say li Muhammadin, right? So Muhammad is a noun, it's clear. So this is something that you will learn at very beginning when you study Ajurumi or any other grammar book. They will tell you that one of the way we know the word is a noun if it preceded by harful jar, preposition. What's going on here? We know that yuqabilu is not, it is not a noun. So how can we have a harful jar preceded by a verb? What's happening is that there's a hidden harf, hidden particle, and the particle is none other than our beautiful particle right here. This is the culprit. This is the particle that is working. Yes. So what happens? It is li'an. Li'an. The word is li'an. ذهب محمد لأن يقابل. You can write this expression, ذهب محمد لأن يقابل. No problem. You will be 100% correct. And the same thing it will happen because you have an. So the an is the one that is actually making this fatha, not the li, because we use it so often. So the Arabs, they make it easier. They drop the an altogether. So instead of saying li'an all the time, they just say liyuqabila. Make sense? So that is what's going on. Does the li act as an... So li is not, depends on how you said, but properly they will say li is not acting as an, it's just that an is hidden. That's how they want to say. An is hidden. Another thing, I just, then you might going to ask me, in subhanallah, I get myself into trouble all the time because I give you more information than the can opens up more. So then you will tell me, you just said that li only comes in the noun. An is not noun. Is an noun? Hmm? Is this is noun? Yeah, it's harf. So how can that statement still be valid that you have li and it can only come and noun? What do you think? Yes, I mentioned to you what anytime you have an and then present tense verb, what is the what is the meaning? What is the situation? Situation is it is the place of a noun. We just went through infinitive noun. So anytime you have an and the present tense verb, it is actually a noun. It's an infinitive noun. Guys, whatever you understand is fine, but that's the point. Right now, just know this much that harful jar li, it makes it a fatha in the mansub, but this information will be useful later. There is actually an behind the scene. This information will be very useful. That actually have a an behind the scene. Then it will be clear because we have learned that an makes it present tense verb into a fatha. Okay, so everything else is very simple here. There's nothing to go through it. Just quickly check. Li yadrusa. Here is a li yadrusa. Yadrusa fil mahad. He submitted a request, something like that. He submitted a request so that he can study in the mahad. Okay, so a lot of other things. Hadara, you know what hadara means. Hadara ila al-mustawda li yatasallama al-kutuba. I'm not going to go through them. So inshallah, go through all of them. Don't skip them. I'm skipping doesn't mean that you should skip them. And if you have any questions, you can ask me. Next tadrib, we also skip them all the time. Tadrib al-thani, which has to do with the sounds. We always skip them. And then we have a tadrib al-thalith. The third exercise, it says akmil, complete. This one will come from the text that we read. Okay, it will come from the text that we read. So we have to go back. So I'll not do many of them. I'll just do few, and then you will find. And this is a good exercise for a lot of reasons. It pushes you to go back to reading. And this is something we want. We want to go back sometimes. So you have to go back to the reading and try to find the answers. And I think it also pushes you to, change some of the words in different forms. Let's see what it's saying. It says, أحضر الطالب, then you're blank, من المستودع. What is أحضر? أحضر means to bring, right? So the student brought, it is in the past tense. So the student brought what from the mustawda? We remember we see they brought what? Al-kutub. We can write al-kutub. By the way, what is the haraka goes here? Hmm? What haraka goes here? I mean, the end. Fatha, yes, excellent. Why? Because he brought what? The object, it will be fatha, al-kutuba. Then we have mustawda'u. Then we have blank. Bi jiwari. Jiwar is the next to, in the neighborhood in the next to. Qismi in the department of shu'uni affairs. It will be a tullab. Okay, so this one I'm pretty sure we know. A tullab. Shu'uni tullab. And here mustawda'u. We can say al-kutub, same thing. The storage of the book. Mustawda'u al-kutub. Now what haraka does it go here, guys? The grammar is important. What haraka goes here? Believe it or not, this one is easier than the other one. Anyone else want to give it a shot? This is mudaf ilayhi, right? Storage of, yes, excellent. Storage of the books. So I don't know. I want to skip here. This is the verb we can say uridu. Uridu. Okay, uridu an atasallama al kutuba. Here we have you must know why we have this fatha, and you must also know why we have this fatha. These are important. Uh, I'll leave the rest for you guys. Okay, need to go a little bit fast. Sometimes I will go fast, which I think that as a teacher, it's not my super duty that, this kind of exercise, but you will see that I'm spending more time on explaining things. I think that will be more beneficial for you guys than just completing every single exercises. Now, and then we have Iqra wa Akmil at-Tadrib al-Rabi', which is read and complete. Again, I think this is also coming from the text. Let's see. في اليوم الثاني, in the second day, ذهب أحمد ليتسلم. So Ahmed went to receive what? Again, it should be kutub, right? The books. Uh, Al-Kutub al-Muqarrara. Again, I'm going to ask this question. Keep on asking you guys to think. What haraka does it go here? Uh, Hold on. Yes, that you're right. But we're gonna have a problem with this one. So what we can do, we can make it into indefinite. If we make it, because if we make it into definite, then we're gonna have a problem because looks like this one, hoping, because sometimes this book has haraka mistake, right? Hoping that it didn't make any haraka mistake, then we can say kutu, books of. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Kutub. Otherwise, we don't have any reason why we have a fatha kasra here, right? Now, if we make it in idafa, then we have a good sentence here. Wallahi, I don't want to go through this one. It's gonna drive me insane. وقابل زميلا له, and he met one of his friends. See again, زميلا له, you want to translate one of his friend. What? He met one of his friend and he did something so that yadulla lahu, so that he can indicate him or point at him, ala maktabi rais, office of the head or the principle of Arabic language. We'll find out what to put here, but he's saying that he wants him. He met one of his friend, right? He met him and he wants him. Okay, you can say yuridu. Is it in past tense? Qabala. So arada. So you can say wa arada, and he wanted an yadullahu, that he indicates him. Okay, arada an yadullahum. Yadullahu, he wants him. This verb is coming, so I think we should spend a little bit time. Dalla yadullu, it means to indicate, and you'll always find ala. Dalla ala means to indicate something, so you need the ala. Dalla ala. So you show me or point to maktab. Maktab is the office. Office of the head of Mahad. I think the Mahad will go here. Mahadil Lugatil Arabiya. So that makes sense. Okay. So he met one of his friend and he wanted, like we talking about Ahmed, he wanted an yadullahu, that he indicates him to the office of the head of the institution of Arabic language. Well, like these things, I wish I always tell you, I hate these exercises because if they had given us like a set of word, it would have been so much easier. We just pick one, which one makes sense. Otherwise, I have to go back all the way. And One of these days, what I wanted to do is actually fill this thing out, and instead of doing in the class and then and just post it in the comments or somewhere. So if someone is struggling, it takes time. This is not easy. You have to go back and you have to make sense all of these things, but very important though, right? Inshallah. So I'll skip this for now, and then inshallah, if I have a time once we're done with this, to go back and complete them. So like this one is easy. It's also interesting. You have at tadrib al-khamis, the fifth exercise. It says kawin jumalan, make sentences, and it gave us all the words we need. So, and for this kind of sentence, I mentioned to you before that if you find a verb, your life is easy. You start with the verb, because the default, if you have a verb in Arabic language, if you have a verb, then you should start with the verb. So we have a verb tasallama. So you can say tasallama Ahmadu al-kutuba. So it doesn't mean you cannot say Ahmadu tasallama al-kutuba. Of course you can say it. There's nothing wrong with this. But when you have a verb to start with a noun, you would kind of need a reason for it, meaning that has to be emphasized on Ahmed, that Ahmed is receiving the book. But if you want to just inform something, why emphasizing on Ahmed? You just want to say what happened, which is that Ahmed received the book. You understand? So there's a little bit subtlety here. And also, when you have a hal, you should start with the hal because it's a question. Hal هذه, yeah, you can say hal هذه here. This is a mistake. You cannot have I don't see any reason we can have a fatha here. It has to be a dhamma because there's no verb here. So هل هذه هي الكتب المقررة. So I have a question for you. Why going through all of this هذه هي and all of these things? Forget about the hal for now. You want to say these are the course books. So why can't you say هذه Why can't you say هذه كتب مقررة? Why can't you say that? Anybody has any clue? What's going on with here? I think I explained that in the last class. Something that you also should pay attention. You should know. What would happen if I say, because I want to say these are the course books. Yes, good. But why do you want to separate? If I say these are the, yes, good. So if you don't, if you say هذه كتب المقررة, it's not a sentence, it's a phrase. No, no, not emphasize. It's a phrase because if you say هذه كتب المقررة, you are saying these course books. For example, I think you will study this in Modena book. If you say هذا رجل, this is a man, right? You study this. But if you say هذا الرجل, what happens? Hmm? This man. It doesn't mean this is the man. It means this man. So it's a phrase. But all you want to say, if this one is hada rajulun, means this is a man, I want to say this is the man. Normally you'd think like all you have to do is make this one into definite. So you made it into definite, but you get into trouble because now this is not a sentence. It means this man. So how do you say it? You have to separate with the pronoun. You say hada huwa ar-rajul. Yes, makes sense. So it's a good, tricky stuff, but I think you should pay attention. You should know. So that's why we have to bring here. We have to bring huwa because of hada. And of course, you will bring here because it is hadi. Is it clear? It's a little bit tricky stuff, but you should know that. Now, that's what's going on. And inshallah, I think you will be able to do the rest. You want to say the shu'un. So first of all, shu'un and tulab will go. So student fare, and then al-tabiq and thani will go in the second floor. So you'll say the qism shu'un al-tulab, the department of the affairs of the student is fi. So you'll have fi in the floor, al-thani in the second floor. Okay. Okay, so we have 5 more minutes. So let's see what we can do. This should be very easy, fairly easy because you are connecting. It says Tadribu Sadis, that is sixth exercise. So basically we're supposed to connect. For example, they did one already. So قابل معذف المستودع الكتب. So as you know, because he said قابل معذف, we would be tempted to make this one into a file, the doer. That means the muadhaf, the employee, met. But looks like they're being explicit, saying that no, he's not the doer. He is the rather object. We still need a doer. Remember, there cannot be a verb in Arabic language without the file. So who's the file? File is he, is the hidden he, huwa. So he met the employee of the book storage. Let's do a few of them. Al-maktabatu, maktabat, the library, bijiwari, it is next to, bijiwari what? Bijiwari shu'uni tullab. I think that's what we had in the text. Okay. The ijlis min fadlik. Easy one. You can do it and then find the rest. I think you guys should be able to find this one easily. Wait a minute. This one probably goes here. Isma shu'uni tullab. You guys figure it out from the book. This is there's no right or wrong answer. Okay, this one I'll give you a little bit harder ones. Like for example, this one, وافق على تسلم الكتب, because I remember in the text we had something like that. في مستوى the مستوى would be في مستوى الابتدائي, beginner level, and then work your way around. This is very easy. Okay, this is very easy. التدريب السابع, this is the seventh exercise, is very easy. It says كون جملا كالمثال. Make sentences as in the example. They'll give you a one word. المكتبة قريبة. The library is close. So you make it. Then they give you another set of words. Then you keep on joining. It just it has a two purpose. One is how you add additional information when you speak or when you write. So you start off by saying the library. What about it? It's qariba, it's close. Then you say, you add a little bit more information. So you're building your complexity to your sentence. So you say al maktabatu qaribatun min maktabil amid. So it is closer than the dean's office. So, so you're adding information. So here you can say ana talibun. Okay, so it will be ana talibun first. I'm a student. Then you say ana talibun jadidun. So you're giving a little bit more information. Then you say ana talibun jadidun bil mahad. So now you're giving even more information. I'm a student in the institution. So this is one purpose, like how you see how you can keep on adding building so you don't feel intimidated by the long sentence, especially when you're speaking or writing yourself. When you're reading and translating, that's a different things. But now their focus is that so that we don't feel uncomfortable speaking a long sentence. Another thing is that, as I told you, this book hasn't been paying attention a lot in the speaking. So these are the exercises usually meant for speaking. If you go to Bani Yadayk book, you will see that, this kind of exercise is full of this kind of exercise. It's very silly if you think about from just reading perspective, yes, but point here is not that. Point is that you will be keep on speaking. So as you keep on saying, speaking, and writing, you're getting a lot more comfortable. Reading is one thing and speaking is another thing. Okay, so inshallah, try to do that. It's very simple. There's nothing to do, honestly. Just keep on adding them. And the whole point is don't stay silent and, do it. You should be also speaking or saying out loud. So with that, we will wrap up here.